Hello everyone. Today we will continue explaining 2.53. 2.53, it was about sensitivity and movement in plants. Example, tropism. If you remember in the last lesson, we talked about tropism. We said we mean by tropism, it's the growth of plant or a part of plant in response to a stimulus. Then we explained the two types of tropism. We said we have phototropism and gravitropism. It depends on the stimulus. If the stimulus is light, so we call it phototropism. If the stimulus is gravity, then we call it gravitropism. Last lesson we explained about phototropism. Today we will continue explaining, but today we will explain how plant will respond to gravity. So plants respond to gravity, the mechanism of gravitropism. Because the stimulus here is gravity, so the growth of plant, it will be in response to the gravity. So it will be positive gravitropism or negative gravitropism. It depends on the direction of growth. We said whenever the growth is toward the stimulus, we will call it positive. While the growth, if it's away from the stimulus, we will call it negative tropism. Now we will see a plant, how it responds to gravity. Here, as you can see, here we have this experiment. This experiment is bean. Okay, so bean, when this bean, it will germinate or it will grow, it will start forming roots and shoot. So we will see how these two parts it will grow, or to which direction it will grow. One more thing here, you need to focus on this container or this beaker or this jar. Okay, see, firstly, here what is happening, the position of seed, how it is, and here it's in different positions. Okay, the procedure here, it's what? Freshly germinated bean seedlings are fixed in the position inside a jar. Then seedlings are allowed to grow for a further 5 days with the jar placed as shown in ABC. Roots turns to grow downwards, shoot turns to grow upward. So if you will focus here again, what happened? As we know, the root will grow downwards with the direction of gravity, while the shoot, which it's like the stem and leaves, it will grow upward or away from the gravity. Here, even if you will flip the jar, okay, still see what is happening. Now the roots here, it start going down, and the leaf or the shoot, it start going upward. Here also it's the same thing. The roots will go downwards while the shoot will go upwards. Explanation for this. Okay, till now scientists, they couldn't explain this mechanism, or they couldn't explain this phenomenon. But the explanation that the scientists they gave, they said the shoots, which include, for example, the leaves, it will grow upward. Why? Because leaves are adapted to do the photosynthesis, and to do the photosynthesis, it will need sunlight. So it should be upward, or it should be above the soil. So what the scientists suggested, one suggestion is that the root and the shoot are responding to different growth substances. Okay, but scientists, they believe that same growth substance, which is auxin, affects both roots and shoots. But why they grow in different directions? It seems likely that root and shoot cells have different level of sensitivity to auxin. What's that mean? The same concentration of auxin reduces cell expansion in roots but stimulates cell expansion in shoots. Okay, again, the last part, it's important here. The auxin, it was like, maybe you'll have a question, it says how auxin it works in plant or how it affects the root and shoot. You will say the auxin, it reduces cell expansion in roots. Okay, it makes the cells expand slowly or slower, while it will stimulate cell expansion in shoots. It means it will help the cells in the shoot to elongate or to expand more. Now, here this diagram, it shows the mechanism of gravitropism. Gravitropism, now if we want to give a definition for gravitropism, we will say it's the growth of plant in response to gravity. Okay, in general to gravity, but then we will say when it's positive and when it's negative. So now what do you think, which part of the plant it's positive gravitropism and which part it's negative gravitropism? The answer, it will be root, because root it's going with the direction of gravity, so it's positive gravitropism, while shoot or the upper part, it's growing away from the gravity, so this is a negative gravitropism. Now we will see, for example, here, okay, what happened. Okay, why the root it start bending? What makes the root bending? Firstly, as we explained last lesson, we said how plants it grow. We said the tip. Okay, this part, it's highly active part. This it's always producing or making new cells. So here, this tip, it makes, okay, produce growth substance. It makes new cells and also it makes the growth substance. What do you mean by growth substance? Here it's as we mentioned, which is auxin. So now what will happen? This tip, it will make auxin. Then this auxin, as you can see the arrows, it means this auxin will diffuse back along the root. Okay, when this auxin it goes through the roots, here what we say, what will happen, the auxin it will do what in the roots? We say the auxin it will reduce cell expansion. So here what will happen, the cells it will expand less. This, it's in this state, okay, when it's going directly to the soil. But here, like this one, why it will bend? Now what will happen? Just put in your mind that auxin, it will more auxin, it makes the cells absorb less water, okay, as we explained in the last lesson also. Now look here, what will happen. Here you have this, it's a root. Here it's the tip. When the tip it makes or it will produce auxin, this auxin will goes to the it will diffuse in the root. But what will happen? See, more growth substance reaches lower side. So in this side, also focus on the arrows. It's not like here. Here in the both sides will get the same amount of auxin. But here it's not. The lower part, okay, the lower side will get more auxin. So when here it will get more auxin. When it will get more auxin, that's mean it will absorb less water. When it will absorb here less water and here more water, so what will happen? This, it will expand less. Here it will expand more. So what will happen? The cells here will be bigger and here will be smaller. Now what will happen? The root, it will grow with the direction of gravity. Okay, again, more growth substance reaches lower side, then and it stops it extending as much as the top side. Okay, so here the cells, it will expand less or it will extend less than the upper part. And again, take note that auxin inhibits or slow down the growth in root, as we explained here, and also it will stimulate or speed the growth in shoot. Plant hormones have commercial uses. As you know, because plants, they are the base of all human food chains. As you know, our food chain, it starts with producers. Example for producers, plants. So human, they start focusing on how to increase the crop, how to increase the amount of this food or fruit. So the scientists, they came with some ideas. For example, firstly, synchronized fruiting. Synchronized fruiting, what do you mean by it? As you know, when you look at a tree and you will see this tree, it has fruits. These fruits, okay, they don't grow in at the same time. For example, let's say if you have a tree and at this tree there are, let's say, 5 apples, okay, not all 5 apples will ripe at the same time. So scientists, what they did, they found some hormones that can make these fruits or all the fruits to grow at the same time. So spraying hormones onto fruits can make them develop at the same rate. Okay, so how this it will help? So this allows efficient picking of the crop by machines. As you know, nowadays they are using machines to pick the crops. So machines doesn't know which one it's ripe and which one it's not. So how they solve this problem? By using hormones. Then another example, which is, for example, seedless fruit can be produced. Nowadays, if, for example, let's take an example, banana. Banana, as we know, fruits, they should have seeds in it. But now, as we know, there is no seeds in bananas. Okay, how? Why? What happened? Okay, so a hormone spray can make fruits such as apples and grapes develop without fertilization. So here what will happen? Plants will reproduce, or sorry, plants will make fruits without fertilization. They don't need to wait until the pollen it will move from anther to stigma and so on. So this process, it takes a long time. And so what they did, they used some hormones. These hormones, it makes the plants grow faster with no need for fertilization. So in this case, what will happen? A plant, it will make fruits, and these fruits will be seedless. weeds can be killed. Nowadays, what happen when you, for example, at your garden, okay, at home, when you plant any kind of plant, sometimes some weeds will grow with the plant. Sometimes the unwanted plant, it will grow. So how to prevent this or how to solve this issue? They use some hormones, okay? So spraying with high concentrations of synthetic hormones. So they will spread hormones on the plants. In this case, what will happen? Some plants, it can it can handle this concentration of hormone, while the other one it will not be able to handle it. So what will happen? The weed will be killed. Cuttings, it's also another way to make plants grow or to increase number of plants. How? For example, cuttings can be stimulated to grow roots. Here you have a piece of plant. When you will cut it and you will put in a powder, here they use a specific powder that contains hormones. So what will happen? One cut or one branch or one part of the plant, they will put in hormones. Then cutting inserted into potting compost, okay, which is this one. Okay, then what will happen? It will start roots form and begin to absorb mineral ions and water. Here what they did, they took a part of plant. So here it's like a way of reproduction. Okay, here this we called it asexual reproduction, which is just a part of plant will grow, will make roots, and then it will make a new plant. But this process, it happened by the help of what? It will happen by the help of specific hormones. These hormones, it makes this process faster. So here were just some examples of the commercial uses of hormones. Your task for this lesson is to solve the questions. And again, when you will finish watching this video, please write your name, write a comment with your name. And if you still have any questions, concerns about this topic, please don't hesitate to text me. Thank you and have a good day.